Let's now turn to Facebook and the news this week that had a lot of users outraged. The social media giant revealed that for 1 week back in January 2012, it allowed researchers to manipulate almost 700,000 users' news feeds. Some saw more positive news about their friends, others saw more negative, and the experiment worked. The people who saw more positive news seemed happier in their own Facebook posts. Now, Facebook sort of apologized this week, but not totally. But this story is so much bigger than that one experiment. I'm intrigued by the larger, long-term implications when it comes to user behavior. Can Facebook impact who you vote for example, or what kind of news you see during a big political season? Joining me now to discuss that in Austin, Texas, is Tal Yarkoni, a psychologist and research associate at the University of Texas in Austin, and Zeynep Tufekci. She's an assistant professor at UNC Chapel Hill's School of Information and Literary Science. Welcome to you both.
Hello.
You two are the experts, so I want to hear from both of you first. Were you outraged by this revelation this week? Were you surprised at all? Zeynep, let me start with you.
Well, I wasn't, because I'd been following. This is not the first study Facebook has published showing its enormous power. It's one of many, and this is the first one that's caught the public imagination. In fact, this is the tip of the iceberg.
Why do you think it is that this one caught the public's imagination?
Because I think it was involved with emotions, and the way the study abstract made it sound like it had created, emotional contagion, I think made a lot of people realize that Facebook is a primary way in which that they interact with their friends, and a lot of people get news around the world. And the idea that they're the product that Facebook is manipulating to make sure they come back to Facebook, this idea hadn't really been very public before. And I think this was the first realization that Facebook does experiment with them, and there's all these algorithms that filter what they see and what they don't see. And I think it made people, sort of step back and say, wait, what else is Facebook doing, and what else am I not seeing? And wait, why am I seeing that post and not the other one? And those are very good questions.
Tal, should we be more bothered by this than, for example, how advertisers manipulate emotions all the time?
No, I don't think so. I think there are certainly legitimate concerns about what's going on here, and I agree with Zeynep that you hear people talking about manipulating our emotions, and it seems like a potentially dangerous thing. But you have to remember that advertisers have been doing this kind of thing more or less for decades now. When you go to the supermarket, there's a reason why the chocolates are by the checkout and flowers are not, and it's because you've been experimenting on for decades.
But that's not as effective. That's not as effective. The advertiser doesn't come between you and your friends, and that advertiser that puts the chocolate doesn't know that much about you. Facebook knows so much about you. Facebook knows your personality type. Facebook knows whether you're a Republican or Democrat. Facebook knows which of your friends you like most. So the kind of power it has, and also when you see that chocolate so blatantly placed, you react against it. That's why advertisements don't work that well when they're in mass media, whereas when they're stealth, when you don't really know to have your defenses up, that's when you're so vulnerable. And I think that's why, Facebook, and this isn't just Facebook, and this isn't just the study, that's why it's sort of the internet platform's power to change how we feel is very important. That voting study that Brian talked about, that's very important. It was actually a very interesting study.
Tell me what it found, because for viewers at home, tell me what that study found.
I will tell you. So the study found that Facebook can make people vote. It had different voting messages, and one was a social message. It said, go vote from your friends. It was very neutral. It was partisan. And the other one said, go vote more in an informational sense. And it had 300,000 more people show up in 2010 elections. And now, since Facebook knows whether you're a Republican or Democrat without even asking you, because it has so much information about you, it doesn't have to ask you to know these things. You can imagine a scenario in which Facebook and other big internet platforms could throw an election by nudging the right kind of people to go vote in those few swing states.
Tal, is Zeynep overstating the situation here?
No, I think I more or less agree with that. So I think, I think there's 2 points to be made. One is there wasn't anything unusual about the study. So I agree that it's potentially useful as an awareness-raising exercise, right, in the sense that I was actually surprised at how many people were not aware that this kind of thing was going on. I kind of assumed, well, everyone knows this is happening, and apparently they don't care. So in some sense, it's actually relieving to see that people, weren't aware and they do care. But I hope that the takeaway message from this is not, oh, look, Facebook is one bad actor. Let's go after Facebook. They'll change their terms of use. Problem solved. I mean, I agree that the broader issue here is, do we need new legislation to protect consumer data and what companies like Facebook can do when
And
you're
Google and Twitter and many others.
Exactly, yes.
I agree that Facebook, I mean, we got this one study in Facebook in our crosshairs, but this, is not the only question here. This really isn't. Like, if you as a person are worried about this one study, I read the study. I mean, it's okay in the sense that, yes, there should have been better consent procedures, but it's likely that you didn't really see that much of a change. So that's the good news. The bad news is this is the tip of the iceberg. This is the tip of the iceberg of what's called A/B testing, in which, online platforms test you all the time to make sure you come back, because remember, you're the product they're selling to advertisers. Your eyeballs is what's being sold.
I want to read one quote from another person who wrote about this topic this week, Deanna Boyd. She wrote, "On a personal level, I hate the fact that Facebook thinks it's better than me at deciding which of my friends' posts I should see. I hate that I have no meaningful mechanism of control on the site." And she's getting at an issue that I think a lot of us experience on Facebook, the idea that this news feed is supposed to be curated, just the highlights of what your friends are posting, when in reality, it's not that good a summary of the world. Do you all think that's something that Facebook is aware of and is working on?
It's curated to keep you engaged on Facebook. It's curated to keep you coming back to it. So in the study, the P&A study that we're talking about, there's a really interesting line. They found that neutral posts don't get as much other people posting. So that might be why your Facebook feed is full of drama, because drama, good or bad, seems to keep people engaged. And that finding that I thought was really interesting, that neutral posts are not getting people engaged and coming back to Facebook, might be why they're suppressing some of the neutral stuff.
So as a counterpoint to that, I think it's very easy to think, it feels that way, right? It feels like, well, I would like to have all of these different settings I can adjust and play with and see what happens. But in some sense, that's the whole point of A/B testing, right? Is you vary things, you give in some cases people more options, you see what they like. And so ultimately, you could argue that the reason that you end up where you end up is precisely because people do seem to like the settings they have, right? So this is true not just on Facebook.
A billion people don't like the same thing. A billion people don't like the same thing. And maybe what we like, even if what you say is true, it should be transparent and say, we're showing you high emotive content. Is this what you want? I mean, I would like, as an adult, a little more say into a platform that is so central to my life. I have family all over the world, and they're on Facebook. So I would like to hear from my quieter relatives and friends as much as I hear baby news.
Well, you do have that control, actually. So there are options in Facebook where you can explicitly say, I want to see more of this. But one thing to keep in mind,
it's not transparent.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that Facebook couldn't do better, but I do think that they test precisely this kind of stuff all the time. And the reality is that these are adaptive algorithms, right? So they adjust to your behavior, and you can actually, for example, Facebook does allow you to view chronological postings, and most people don't seem to like that very much because stuff doesn't update, right? So I think certainly you could always argue, and I think reasonably, that there should be more transparency. If nothing else, there should be the ability to opt out to see what people have been doing with their data. But the defaults, I think, are actually, by and large, people don't actually mind, I find, the defaults. They actually like them. What they don't like is the realization after the fact that, hey, this is what's been going on. And the question we have to ask ourselves, I think, is it's a trade, right? You kind of, on some level, you accept that you are going to give up some control, and in return, you're going to get a service. And the question is, where do we draw the line between, wait, I didn't know you were going to do this with my data, and, oh, I really like my shopping experience on Amazon, and I like the user interface on Facebook. And I think getting that right is important.
You have to keep in mind that Facebook's customers aren't us, it's the advertisers.
Sure.
So that's the important realization there, is that Facebook isn't necessarily giving us this power, because what if, we don't do something and it's not as suitable to the advertiser? So that is, I think, a tension that Facebook has to come to terms with more openly, is that they're in the business of getting money from the advertisers and not from us. Before we go,
Tal, since we've had a week of public debate about this, what's the worst possible outcome here? What's the best possible outcome?
I think the worst possible outcome is as I said earlier, I think people come away thinking, This was a problem specifically with Facebook, and now that there's an outcry, Facebook is going to address this by tweaking some of the terms in the data use policy, and we'll forget in a week, and nothing will happen. And 6 months later, something will happen similar to this, and the cycle will go on.
Right.
I think
right.
the best possible outcome is, I agree with Zainab, I think that there has to be a societal conversation, and we have to say at some point, look, we need to decide collectively what we're comfortable with. How much of our data do we want to give up control over? Do we want to pass new laws that regulate this kind of stuff? Or do we want to trust Facebook to do the right thing? I think that's a conversation we need to have, and I agree with Zainab.
I completely agree. The worst possible situation would be Facebook comes up and says, here, we tweak the terms of service and stops publishing. So all that happens is they'll keep doing this kind of study. They just won't tell us.
Zeynep Tufekci and Tal Yarkoni, thank you both for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.